Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei, Management of a Novice Alchemist. A bit of a festive mood, as you can see, because I'm finally on Christmas break until the 3rd of the first month of the year. January? I think it's January. I always mistake January for June, but I think it's January. Yeah, I'm gonna have some time. I'm gonna hopefully catch up before the next season begins. And yeah, that's essentially it. And we are starting today with Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei, episode 10. So only two more besides this one. Only two more will be left, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's a 13 episode core. I think it's 12 episodes, like most anime nowadays. Right. In the last episode, what happened? Well, we figured out a couple of new pieces of merchandise, right? Movable, portable, floating tent, portable toilet, things like that. Because the cooling hats were no longer in demand, because one, everybody has one already. Two, it's autumn coming, so people are gonna need warming, not cooling, and I really do like that they touch up on those sorts of issues. Anything else happened? Oh, well, of course, Kate and Iris and the other adventurers got poisoned a little bit by the rot fruit bee honey. I think rot fruit. Yeah, makes sense because the honey was made of rotten fruit, so I think the name was rot fruit. This anime isn't like particularly super deeply symbolic about its naming, so probably rot fruit is correct. And of course, it required some poisons, no, not poisons, some potions to cure. Yet another merchandise to the collection. All things not all things considered, that saying doesn't apply here. All of that aside, rather, because it was another very self-contained bit of a story, right? Some sort of a conflict is introduced at the beginning of the episode, and it's resolved by the end of the episode. I like to call it the My Little Pony formula, because in My Little Pony, besides the first episode of the season and the last episode of the season, sometimes they were two-parters, the other episodes are essentially just one-offs. And this seemed to be the case as well, but we are slowly but surely entering the realm of more overarching themes, I guess you could say. First reason that makes me believe that is that Sarasa finally mentioned that she's gonna get to get started with her book, and I believe that tent was her first step towards going through all the alchemical almanacs. And the other thing is that Kate's and Iris's parents, well, Kate's father and Iris's mother, I believe, they arrived. Somehow they found Sarasa's shop. Somehow they found out where their daughters live and work. And that was a bit of a cliffhanger to the previous episode, which we didn't really see before. There weren't really any cliffhangers in this series so far. This is a first. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, sorry. I think the episode with the Flame Grizzlies might have had a cliffhanger with the grizzly getting into Sarasa's house and threatening. I forgot her wife's name, but yeah, threatening her. How could I have forgotten? I don't know. And that's where the episode cut off. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure of that, but this time around we did get a cliffhanger, that much is certain. What's gonna happen in today's episode? I don't know. It could be a very touching reunion, it could be a oh no, how did you find me here? I went no contact with you for a reason, you were abusing me for years. Essentially anything goes. Anything goes, honestly. I have no expectations for this episode, not in the meaning that I expect it to not be good, but I simply don't know what's going to happen, and I have no way of predicting what's going to happen. Probably some alchemical shenanigans, but besides that, I have no clue. And to have a clue, we're gonna have to watch it, right? And you're gonna need your subs, of course. There we go. And I am going to need my sound. How am I gonna do it, though? I guess this works. Yeah, it works surprisingly well, actually. Okay, there we go. I have my sound, and I don't even need to take my hat off. And of course, your support. I'm gonna have to ask you for your support. Monetary Patreon Throne links in the description below, or non-monetary, sharing my content, spreading the word helps the channel a lot and costs you absolutely nothing. And with that all out of the way, we can start watching episode 10 of Shinmai Renkinjutsushi no Tenpo Keiei in 3, 2, 1, go. Mm, isn't Iris also an elf? Why is he sad, though? It's a joyous occasion, right? Reuniting with your daughter. He probably has some business, doesn't he? He didn't visit just out of the goodness of his heart. I don't know, maybe. Who's to say? He kinda looks like a businessman dude with the top hat and all. And I need to frame myself properly so the whole hat stays in the shot. Yeah, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Hmm. Iris's mother seems happy about it. Kate's father doesn't. Yeah, I have no clue. Besides, they probably want something. I have no clue. Also interesting that their parents know each other. Are Iris and Kate childhood friends? I don't know, maybe. Open. Oh, I got them turned around. Their names, that is. Simply, Kate seems more like a human name, and Iris more like an elven name, but okay, so a lesser noble, essentially. A dragon is attacking my lands. Hasn't paid her debt off yet. What's Kate's mother doing here, though? Yeah, lesser nobles. And that brought our family to bankruptcy. Yep. So you have experience with debt already. Okay, so what's the issue then? Okay, we have the backstory. Yeah, what's the issue? And yeah, why do you need her? Hmm. Okay. Well, that is indeed a changed situation. And you got into even more debt. Iris's hand in marriage, probably. She's gonna get married off. Yeah, political marriage. And why are you here, by the by? He's a merchant. And he probably has some vested interest in marrying into this family. Probably fat, short, balding. Shadily, a son of or some nephew of the other Dilly. Greedily. Yep. Yeah, she ran them out of business. Yeah, indeed. Even minor nobility is still a nobility. probably preferential taxes and stuff. You changed your tune really fucking quick. Can maybe Sarasa lend you some money? Opening some branch store in your territory or something. Yeah, what was the point of Kate's mother being here? She just came here, scolded her daughter, and fucked right off. I guess maybe she makes for a bodyguard for him or something. I've no clue. Is she a mistress? I mean, you don't know that yet. You still need to have the full debt repaid. That hasn't changed. Probably not. We wouldn't have a story if everything was fine. Yeah, double debt. And that, sure. Debt freeze. Hey, that's always cool. People are really allergic to asking for help in this show, aren't they? Okay. Try repaying the debt first rather than repaying the sentiment. Sure. And what can. Okay. Makes sense. I guess last week's episode telling us that the dangerous ingredients to gather fetch the highest prices was kind of a preparation for today's episode. Right? We need a lot of money, so we're gonna go against something super dangerous. There's a dragon in the nearby cave. And what do you know? Dragon scales fetch a high price on the market. Flaming gem, flaming red gem. If it's not a dragon, I have no clue what it is. Or sure, Narsnachi and Tinelnak. She's a better gatherer than all the other ones combined. Yeah. Okay. Okay, more grizzlies. Or where did they even come from exactly? But the local lord is lazy. I mean, yeah, if there's anybody who can figure it out, it's gonna be Sarasa. It's not like the local lord would have any idea about Hellflame Grizzlies. Unless he has some court alchemist or court whoever that can advise him on that. No floating tents? Come on, hag it out. The mountains. That looks like an inactive volcano. Are mountains collapsing like a regular occurrence in your world? Okay, so I was correct that it is a volcano, inactive, but a volcano nonetheless. Weird that nobody even mentioned it being a volcano. Unless maybe it's a translation issue, where they are actually saying Japanese word for volcano, but it gets translated to mountain. Yeah, one woman army. No, you pack a mean punch. She's become the cornerstone of their community. Inside, okay, probably some sulfur something. Didn't you craft any alchemical gas masks? A cave and a lizard. Interesting. Pseudo salamander. How's the price for their materials, though? That's actually plausible. Yeah. So they were competing for the same source of food. Yep. Why are the lava lizards here, though? What caused them to appear here? Following food? Probably. Unless it's a frenzy of lava lizards. I mean, all that's needed is a singular alchemical punch, and they're done. One shot, one kill. I mean, why are the others even needed at this point? Just like that, decapitated. Yeah, somehow I doubt anybody's going to be able to replicate this. Yeah, yeah, very much so. Oh, that's a lot of lava lizards. Iris, of course, as always, being the butt of the joke. And just like that, decimated. And that's the episode. That was short. I mean, you're gonna get a bunch more money, though. Yeah, exactly. That there were this many. You had to say it. You just had to say it. It's a dragon. Or is the mountain erupting? It's a dragon. Or is it a salamander? Since those lizards are pseudo salamanders. Salamander. And she's back in the red. Okay, that episode felt like no time has passed at all. Honestly. The previous one also felt like that. I don't know why. But I'm not averse to that feeling, to be perfectly honest with you. And I hope you are not averse to watching it again. Shall we? Okay, Iris and Kate. As I said, I mixed up their names. I guess Kate sounds more human, and Iris sounds more elvish. So I got them mixed up, but no, Iris is the human and Kate is the elf. Gotta remember that. Now we know why this guy is all sad, because he's a bearer of bad news. And yeah, here's the salamander. Yeah, we're gonna be fighting the salamander from the opening. Katerina. She's Katerina and he's Adalbert. Adalbert, yeah, I think. Did he introduce him? Yeah, Adalbert. Adalbert and Katerina. I understand why Adalbert is here. Why is Katerina here, though? Iris is a noble. We get the. I guess you could call it a trope of a noble princess going for the vagabond life and becoming an adventurer and becoming a fighter, swordsman, right? But calling it a trope. I mean, it is a trope, but trope has nowadays has very negative connotations, right? When you say something is a trope, you usually mean that it's beaten to death. It's been repeated so many times that it completely lost all impact. Not so much the case here. So it is a trope, but not a negative one. I guess is what I was trying to say. And of course, she was hiding her nobility because she doesn't want to be treated any differently. Another trope, I guess. Hardly nobles, lesser nobles. She looks good in a dress. Yeah, she does look good in a dress. But crop failure, finances running out, and getting into debt. I wonder if that crop failure was actually natural, or was it caused by the local lord to make the lesser nobles underneath him indebted to him more. I wonder. Actually, I'm gonna take note of it. Why not? I have this notebook for a reason, after all. And I think there's barely anything noted for Novice Alchemist. Yeah, I just have, like, 2 theories noted down. How should I word it? Crop failure in Iris's village wasn't natural. I wonder if that's gonna be a plot point, because it is yet again, rather, it's the first time we see of the local lord. We hear of the local lord. Later, we hear of that local lord. Was it the same one? Rules South Straug and York village. York Yokwo Kirk. And Yokwo Kirk is also the same guy who that woman later on in the episode went to help investigating the Halfling Grizzlies. I wonder if it's connected. Or I wonder if it's something that the local lord just does, like on the daily, trying to ruin local villages to get them indebted to him. Something along those lines. Probably. He doesn't understand, if that is the case, he doesn't understand that ruined villages don't pay taxes because they don't have anything to pay taxes for. But then again, people like that don't really see things in the long term. It's usually short-term gains over long-term gains, and that's visible even nowadays. Take any billionaire or millionaire or any business CEO, it's always short-term gains over long-term gains. Whenever some change is made to whatever that people use that's gonna drive the people away over time, doesn't matter. Right now, it brings us more money. In the span of like a month, it's gonna bring us enough money to cover the next 2 years of operation. People are gonna start leaving, but now we get the money. What's gonna happen later? I don't know. I'm just gonna step down as a CEO. Someone else is gonna be brought in as the new CEO, and they're just gonna be a scapegoat. That's an interesting thing, by the way. There are sacrificial lamb CEOs. Like, legit. You can hire a person who's gonna take the role of a CEO, make some super unpopular change, or something. They're gonna take the blame for everything that went bad, and then they're gonna step down as the CEO, and you go back to being the CEO. And you're blameless, because it's that other guy who did it, and they get a nice chunk of change for being the scapegoat. It's crazy. It's honestly mad, the things that are going on in the millionaire world. I wanted to teach a lesson to that Baronet Kirk. They're demanding a full repayment all at once. I wonder if the cause of that is basically short-term profit over long-term profit. In the short term, they ruined some villages, got a chunk of change, but now the taxes are drying out, and they can no longer have their lavish lives. And now they need to find another chunk of change. Trying to gather money. We know why Iris decided to be an adventurer, because she also wanted to gather some money, and Kate decided to join her. Due to a recent sudden death, the owner has changed. I wonder if that means Greedily is dead. Whoever Greedily was indebted to just offed him somewhere in a dark alley for the debts, and his son, nephew, brother, whoever took over the business. Condition of the loan is marriage. Predictable. Catherine's, or whatever her name is, Kate's mother's role in this whole shebang seems to be just this. This is the entirety of her role. Just trying to calm Kate down. I guess she's just a travel companion to Adalbert. I guess that's her role in the whole thing. If he's willing to shoulder the debt of such a minor noble house, yeah, he must not be so bad if he is willing to shoulder our debt. Well, he has some interest in it. You said it yourself, he's a merchant. Merchants don't run public charity. He wants nobility for some reason. Also interesting, I just noticed that greedily, right? Shadily, shadily. He's shady. It's in the name. He's shady. He's the real Slim Shady. He should stand up now. And yeah, the Dilly company lost a lot of money on the Frostbat fangs, so how do they have the money to pay off the debt? Hint, hint, they probably don't. They probably only put on a front, right? The man is dressed in finest fabrics, wearing gold everywhere, and in the company vault there's only crickets, and all the property they had they lost, and he's staying somewhere in an inn. But he looks presentable, he looks like a rich man, so everybody's willing to believe him that he's a rich man indeed. It reminds me of the way people carry themselves and the way people dress has a lot of an impact, more than people believe, honestly. There were a couple people, it's got fairly popular back in the days. Not to the point where everybody was doing that, but I know of at least a couple of people who hired a couple of guys or just brought their friends dressed up as bodyguards, and they dressed themselves very fancy, and they took a stroll over, like, I don't know, Hollywood or somewhere, and people were stopping them. Hey, can I take your autograph? Hey, can I take a selfie with you? Not having a clue that the dude is just a regular fucking John Smith, and his bodyguards are just his friends. But he carries himself like a star, he has bodyguards, so he probably played a role in some movie. I better get his autograph just in case. And probably the same case with Shadily. He just carries himself like a rich man, while having not a coin to his name. Even knighthood counts as proper nobility, and nobility comes with benefits. And he changed his tune immediately. We're heading back. You don't need to worry about that. Kinda odd. I mean, I don't know if I can call it odd, but the whole shtick with, oh, you're gonna investigate. Okay, Kate, Iris, you no longer need to worry about the debt. Just keep doing what you're doing. But didn't the debt owner require full repayment? What's the timeline on that? How long do you have to pay him in full? You should be a little bit more worried, but I don't know. Maybe he has full, boundless trust in Sarasa, which he probably can have because Sarasa is going to save it. Sarasa is going to solve it, no doubt about it. This has truly turned out to be a worthwhile trip. I mean, you at least have some hope and have some promise. Nothing's set in stone yet, though. I'll try my hardest. We just need some ingredients, and we have some ingredients. And of course, Sarasa is better than every other gatherer at gathering, and she's better than every other fighter at fighting. I still wonder why Sarasa has anybody else with her. Especially when it comes to excursions like those. Okay, we're investigating. I wonder why didn't she bring one of the floating tents? Just a regular old boring cloth green tent. Also, how's everybody gonna fit inside? 3 of those, Sarasa, Kate, Iris. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna build another tent soon. Volcano. Mountain collapsing. See, I initially was fairly confused about this whole thing. They keep calling it a mountain. They keep saying that the mountain's collapsing and whatnot. I genuinely thought that they don't know it's a volcano, that maybe it's been dormant for so many years that they just call it a mountain, not a volcano. There is a mountain in my local area, I can see it out of my window, that actually used to be a volcano, but it's been dormant for like hundreds, if, well, thousands of years probably. There's just, signs that it used to be an active volcano, but it's just completely overgrown with forest nowadays. There are buildings on top. Nobody even remembers it ever being a volcano. My water bottle really wants to talk. Could you shut up instead? Uh, so maybe I thought the same is the case here. It used to be a volcano, but so long ago that they just call it a mountain nowadays. Uh, and apparently, mountains collapsing is maybe something that happens in this world. Curious. Could I learn more about it? Maybe there are some monsters that dig tunnels under mountains, so mountains like routinely collapse. But no, it turns out that it's just a volcano, but nobody wants to call it a volcano for some godforsaken reason. Again, I have to wonder if it's the issue with translation. Is it the issue with original wording? Maybe in Japanese you use the same word for mountain as you use for volcano. I don't know. I don't know Japanese. So you tell me if you know why it might be the case. Doesn't seem to have become unusually active. And yeah, we've got Sarasa, and she has some potions should we get hurt. She has super strength, so we're never gonna get hurt because she's just gonna kill everything in our wake and in our way. Probably some sulfur-based gases are being emitted from here. Lava lizards. Launching attacks with tails, very sturdy, breathing fire, and they compete with flame grizzlies, hell flame grizzlies, over their food. But lava lizards are better at procuring that food than hellflame grizzlies, so wherever both species exist, and there's enough food just for one of them, hellflame grizzlies are gonna be driven out. Makes sense, and that's exactly what happens in nature. Where there is a clave, I think it's called, like in biology. I think it's a clave. I'm not sure what the English word for it is fully. But yeah, when there is an area with multiple species that eat the same food, either one of the species evolves to be better than the other at procuring the same food, or one of the species evolves to start eating different food. Maybe nuts that the other species can't crack open. Maybe one species is, maybe both species start as land dwelling, but then the other figures out the ability to climb trees and maybe eat leaves instead of eating grass, right? Things like that happen. If one of the species cannot easily adapt, it just dies off or is driven out and looks for other areas without the better species. Yeah, that probably drove flame grizzlies away. Question is, why are lava lizards here? I guess maybe because of the salamanders spawning those lizards. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe lava lizards are like juvenile salamanders. I don't know. I have no clue. We'll see. Watch out for breath and tails. Yeah. They can break you, they can burn you. Top is sturdy, bottom is soft, and as she says that she attacks from above. Oh yeah, even if you attack from above, don't do that because they're very sturdy from above, and that's how it turns out. Yeah, they get decapitated. Good job, Sarasa, on your presentation. Don't do what I did because it doesn't work. Oh, look how good it worked. I figured I would show you how you'll be repelled if you try to do it like that. Yeah. This would normally never work. I wonder if maybe she's gonna make some gear for at least Iris and Kate. You know, like a magic sword or something to increase their survivability, their potential. Because if Iris and Kate are stronger, even if it comes at cost from Sarasa, they're gonna be able to tackle more dangerous missions and bring more expensive and more rare ingredients, right? It's investing in them, not giving them the sword for free. You can lease it to them, for example, or something. I wonder if we're gonna get there. I would actually love that. I would love it if Sarasa became their like local blacksmith, just upgrading their gear. But in exchange for me upgrading their gear, in exchange for me upgrading your gear, when I have a mission, when I say go fetch me some water slide serpents from the Icy Frost Lake, you're gonna go to the Icy Frost Lake and you're gonna fetch me some water slide serpents hearts. That'd be interesting. Whole swarm, and of course Sarasa just disposes of them like it's no big deal, because it's no big deal for her, honestly. And inside, there's an even bigger lizard, or rather a salamander. Salamanders aren't lizards, they aren't reptiles, they are amphibians, if I'm not mistaken. Potion sales, other sales, ingredients purchased from gatherers, lava lizard purchases, and other ingredients purchases. Okay, so she just bought a bunch of ingredients, and I'm quite frankly overheating in this hat. Oh, it's so incredibly hot. Oh, much better. much colder. Much cooler, rather. There we go. That's that. That's that. I didn't even need to put on the headphones again, apparently. So, that was episode 10 of Management of a Novice Alchemist. And it was cool. I mean, what can I say? It wasn't like super stupid mind blowing, but then again, it's not really the goal, the purpose of this show, I don't think. It's not aiming to be the next, I don't know, Chainsaw Man or whatever, to be a visual spectacle and keep everybody on the edge of their seat. It's at its core, at its heart, it's cute girls doing cute things, and the cute things this time around are alchemy. So, yeah, this episode gave me about what I would expect from this show, and that's perfect. I'm not asking for anything more. I know exactly what I'm gonna get, and I like that I'm going to get just that. The only thing I have any qualms about is the whole situation with Adalbert and Catherine. Catherine felt kind of useless throughout this whole episode, the first half rather, and Adalbert got convinced really quickly that the debt is no longer gonna be an issue. That felt kind of off, but those are really just nitpicks, honestly. There hasn't been anything particularly egregious that happened this episode that I would have to point out. The second half, again, with Sarasa, it's a complete steamroll. But I, yet again, really like the inclusion of real world mechanics. You know, references. In previous episodes, we've seen some things that happen exactly the same way or almost exactly the same as they happen in real-world economics, right? Supply and demand, devaluing merchandise, things like that, right? And in today's episode, we saw an example of something competition. It's called, I forgot, but yeah, two species competing for the same hunting grounds, competing for the same source of food. I'm gonna have to rewatch. Uh, what's it called? Alien Biospheres by Biblaridian, I believe. If you search for Alien Biospheres on Google, on YouTube, you're gonna find it. It's an amazing series, and it deals with exactly that thing, right? Two species competing for the same area or competing for the same food. How they're gonna change on a completely alien planet. It's amazing. I love it, and I love it when anime includes like real world science really to it, where it's not just trust me bro, that's how it works, but rather everything has an explanation, has a very believable explanation. It's not that Hellflame Grizzlies were driven to this village because, I know, lava lizards are very loud and Hellflame Grizzlies don't like the sound. Although I guess that would be also believable, but it's not some bullshit reason. It's like an actual, regular, normal reason that you can find in real world. It doesn't need a magical explanation. It doesn't need the god of fire coming down onto this mountain and telling flame grizzlies, hey, you get the fuck out of here. I'm placing my salamander. Right? Rather, just biology. Amazing. I really did enjoy it. I really did like this episode. And I also like how we are entering an arc. Yet again, we had a continuation from previous episode to this one, and we're gonna have a continuation from this episode to the next one. Very reminiscent of the beginning of the season, where we had essentially a two-parter about the Flame Grizzlies, Hellflame Grizzlies, and now we're gonna have a two-parter counting the after credit scene of the previous episode, a three-parter, but that would be kind of a stretch. We're gonna have a two-parter about the lava lizards and the salamander, perhaps even a three-parter. Who's to say what's gonna happen in episode 12? Yeah, I did enjoy myself, and I'm hoping that we might get a second season, but it's not a particularly strong hope. This anime doesn't really, unfortunately, doesn't strike me as something that was made for the sake of the anime, rather something made for the sake of promoting the source material. But I might be mistaken. Absolutely. I mean, Arifureta got a second season, and the third season is in the works. And if Arifureta got a second season, this one should as well. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see about that in the future. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. I don't think there's anything more that needs mention. But if you disagree, if you think there's something more to be said about this episode, do say so down in the comments below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please. If you want to talk spoilers, Discord is here, also in the description. Join it. There is a channel specifically for this anime where you can talk spoilers to your heart's content, because Discord supports spoiler tags and YouTube doesn't. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Management of a Novice Alchemist, but also Symphogear Axis, Gundam Witch from Mercury, Madoka Magica. I'm gonna be watching Rebellion really soon. Also Tensei Shitaraken Deshita and Arknights Prelude to Dawn. And I also stream sometimes, mostly gacha games, so you might want to click the bell icon to be notified for whenever I go live. Support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon throne links in the description below. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Madoka Magica like Symphogear, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord that plays in the credits, and I sometimes release some seasonal anime a couple days early there as well, so that's an added bonus. On Throne, you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better gear, better software, stuff like that, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, not a single cent, share my content, spread the word, costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a very, very lot. And with that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. I said stop no, don't stop recording. Outro. Outro, of course. You need to see the list of my amazing patrons who support the channel monetarily. You can, but you don't have to, as I mentioned before. Now I can stop recording.